Well, welcome along to the Timeform Sporting Life Weekend Best Bets. David Ord joined on a gloomy Friday, well, that's what we're recording, by Ben Linfoot and Matt Brocklebank, a pair who are very seldom gloomy. No, you are, aren't you, Scoop?
I can be at a certain time of year.
Has the heavy ground spoiled this weekend action at Newmarket for you, do you think?
No, it hasn't. I mean, we get to autumn, don't we? And we expect changeable conditions. And that's exactly what we've got. You know, a lot of rain's fallen at Newmarket Thursday evening into Friday and Thursday itself. The ground's now heavy. I'd expect it to be very testing on Saturday, whatever the weather does now. And I don't mind it because it gives you an opportunity to explore some punting angles that perhaps we haven't for a few months.
Well, there's plenty to explore in the Bet365 Cambridgeshire, one of the big betting races of the season. Timeform graphics appearing on screen now. Top of the shop, 119p Roi de France for John and Thady Gosden and Oisin Murphy. Typical of how tight this handicap is, though. He's only a pound clear of Bo Pedro and Mr. King on 118. And as you can see on screen, there are 5 other horses rated 117. It's tight, Matt, as you expect.
It is.
P for Roi de France. Are you surprised to see him top of the shop?
No, not shocked at all, Dave, given the Gosden's record. Oisin Murphy obviously booked. He's a lightly raced 3-year-old. He's got the pedigree. He's got everything in his favour. He's improving. The run at Yarmouth last time was a really promising effort. I thought James Webb, obviously Ryan Murrod, rode him that day and made all. And the runner-up certainly wasn't disgraced. Didn't do his reputation any harm whatsoever. The obvious question mark is that he's been doing it on good to firm ground. So big question mark for me. In fact, enough to probably take him on, given it's heavy now. He's not raced on anything but good to firm on the turf. He's inexperienced as well. You just can't beat, having a few hairs on your chest when the going gets tough over 9 furlongs at Newmarket this time of year. So I think he's an unexposed, inexperienced horse that we can oppose.
Scoop, you've done the running order. You put your name next then to Godwinson form. Why?
Well, I think it's a key piece of form, potentially. The last run at Goodwood, Godwinson winning, Termy's son in 4th, Crackshot in 5th, all running here in the Cambridgeshire. Godwinson, quite similar to Roi de France in that he's an unexposed horse. He's a year older, he's a 4-year-old, but he's only had the 7 runs coming from the William Haggis yard that do so well in this type of race this time of year. So you can see why he's found his way into the top 5 in the betting. There's a few question marks, though. He too is sort of lacking real experience for this sort of test, and not too many runs in big fields. He did run well at Newbury in the Spring Cup in a big field, but also the ground's a question mark with him. He's not run on anything like heavy ground before. He's by Saxon Warrior. I do think it's a bit of a question mark, especially considering he's been pretty well found in the market, but he is a key horse.
Matt, this song is for you. Emmett Mullins, he currently tops the market. I mean, no idea which way it will go on Saturday morning, changing conditions. Emmett Mullins is surprised he won last time. This has been the target for some time. Do you think the bookmakers are taking a conservative view with him?
They are, maybe, yeah. I mean, look at this race. This must be genuinely one of the hardest races to price up, mustn't it? If you put yourself on the other side of the desk in the shoes of a racing trader, this must be nigh on impossible. And obviously Emmett Mullins just makes things a little bit more complex as well, because we know how shrewd he is, we know how good at placement he is, and as you say, he sort of revealed that Curragh run last time was a tee-up job for the Cambridgeshire. So who knows what to expect from this horse. He's obviously in good form. I personally can't have him on my mind at all, this horse, Dave. A non-runner due to heavy ground just a couple of starts ago. A non-runner due to soft earlier in his career as well. It's the sort of race where you have to take a view, Dave, about some of those at the top of the market. And considering neither of them are proven on good to soft, let alone soft or heavy, I think we are going to be casting the net quite wide here.
American pedigree as well for this song for you.
Yeah, I think he'll... is there a good chance here this one drifts massively and goes off quite a big price? I think 8. If you're taking it 7-8 to 1 now, you want a little, give it a wobble, Dave, as they say.
Running order editor, you put Balmacarva down with your name on next to it as well.
Yes. Horse on my personal shortlist and a key horse in the race, I think, for Eve Johnson Houghton, son of New Bay, progressive 3-year-old. I think he's got plenty of ticks in the right boxes.
That knee action, Scoop.
Oh,
rounded is to say the least.
Yeah, scream soft ground. Got good form on soft ground already. Was keen last time over 10 furlongs at Sandown. Was only beaten by a genius ride from Clifford Lee on Flying Frontier. Got him there on the post. I think the nature of the Cambridgeshire there will really suit this horse, Balmacara, because like I said, he's been keen over 10 and it just looks like he might settle, and 9 furlongs might be absolutely perfect for him. So he's high on the shortlist, Balmacara, for sure.
Nearly selection time now. Before we get there, Matt, a Silver Sword?
Yeah, a fascinating horse. This is one where if Dylan Cunha does indeed have him back to his best, he's kind of a hands-up horse. This horse could win. I'll have to just accept it, I suspect, because he's short enough, considering he's been hopelessly out of form all season. He's about 12, 14 to 1, and I can't argue that's brilliant value. But if he wins, then I'll fully accept that he was well treated. He looked a really progressive 3-year-old towards the end of last season. He won that race nicely at York at the Ebor Festival. That was off 93. He's getting back down towards that mark now. He ran second in a Group 3 at Newmarket over this course and distance last October. On that run, a repeat of that run, he'll probably win this, won't he? He's got a high draw as well, which personally I think might be favourable, but we'll go on to that.
It's a super Saturday for Calbert last week. 1, 2, 3 in the Air Gold Cup. Liberty Lane, top weight in the Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, and you can see why he's the class act in the race, hasn't he? Obviously ran in a Dancy Stakes in his youth, and I do think he is a horse that could run at group level again. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he was rated at 112 next season, running in a Group 3, Group 2. I do think he's a good horse, Liberty Lane. Shown it on quite a few occasions, including over the Cambridgeshire course and distance earlier in the season. So he's pretty versatile regarding the ground. I just have it on my mind that since he's come back from being gelded, all his best performances have been on better ground. So that's just one thing on my mind. But he has gone on soft in the past, so should be absolutely fine on that score. But we are talking specialist ground potentially on Saturday. But giving weight to this field, it's going to be a tough job. But he is a class horse, Liberty Lane.
Selection time then. We've got there, Matt. What's your one you're going to put up in the Cambridgeshire?
I have 2 darts.
Oh, for 2.
Dave. It's one of those 34. I'm just trying to think, how when Ben Coley has 5 or 6 bets on the golf, how many runners are there in those competitions? Sometimes 80, 100, 120. I think I can have 2 in the 34 runner Cambridgeshire Handicap. I think I'll be tipping one of Ian Jardine's horse towards the bottom of the weights, Paddy the Squire. This is a lightly raced 4-year-old with a really good profile for a race like this. Now, he's obviously had a few physical issues. He's had wind problems, I think. He's had surgery on 2 or 3 occasions, accounted anyway, in the form book. But, his record in handicaps is absolutely fantastic. He's not been out of the 3 in his handicap starts through his life. And last year he won over 10 furlongs on soft at Ayr. And he's only had the 2 runs this time around as well. Better off at the weights with Theory of Everything. That's one of David O'Mara's quite well fancied horses this weekend. And that comeback run at Hamilton, where he was mugged, I thought, on the line, because he kind of he made a sweeping move from the back to the front over towards the far rail there at Hamilton, and Theory of Everything kind of came down the outside and pipped him without him really seeing the winner. And then it was good to see him on the back of such a long layoff. He actually backed it up with a solid run, I thought, at Chester last time, again coming from towards the rear. Not ideal at Chester, and finished 3rd in a bit of a bunch finish, but he's on good terms with himself, this horse. I think if he was trained in Newmarket, it'd be half the price. He at sort of 25 to 1 is a fair chance, and I'm going to give another chance as well to the Sean and John Quinn. It's not been a brilliant season for Sean and John Quinn, has it? To be fair, I went to see Sean and spoke to him at the start of the season, and he had some fairly high hopes, but he knows they're in a state of transition. But he has been able to pluck off a good couple of winners at the York Ebor meeting, so certainly still capable.
There, weren't they?
Yeah, fantastic. They are going to pop up again in the autumn. They've got a lot of those horses that are suited to this kind of ground, and I just wonder if this 6-year-old Empire State of Mind with the blinkers back on, he is 66 to 1. Definitely well handicapped now. I've got a bit of history with this horse. I put him up when he was chinned by Bo Pedro at the start of last season when he was running off 99. He's not quite been the same horse since, but as I say, with the blinkers back on, he did a lot of good work last season with the blinkers on, placed in several big handicaps. He loves soft ground. He's got a high draw. And I think he just ran a fair bit better than the bare form suggests when he was behind La Trinidad at Thirsk last time. That form's worked out really well. So he's a wild one. He's 66, Dave, but Empire State of Mind, stall 23 for Jason Hart and Sean Quinn.
How wild are you going, Scoop?
I'm going to have 2 against the field myself, Dave. I had about 6 on the shortlist. Paddy the Squire was one of them, actually. I think you're right, Matt. I think he's got a good chance. But I've come down on 2 different horses. James McHenry for Ed Bethel. I think he's got a really good chance. Looking back in history, when the ground has been soft in the Cambridgeshire, the low numbers on the far side have come to the fore, and although I wouldn't put everything on that, I certainly wouldn't be put off if you fancy one on the far side. And James McHenry's drawn in 2. I think he's been running consistently well all season at Hamilton, in the Third Summer Cup, and in a really good race at York last time, the Clipper. And he's 1 from 1 on soft ground at Ripon on the undulations there, and I just think 9 furlongs of the Cambridgeshire could be exactly what this horse wants for a shrewd outfit. So James McHenry, number 1 selection, and number 2 is Old Majestic, who's won the race before for Jack Shannon. Again, he's hard to win with, but he's very consistent, loves the course and distance. I don't think he'll mind the testing ground. And we've seen horses before come back and win the Cambridge, haven't we, Dave?
We have. What a day that
Old
was.
Bronze Angel.
What a day that was.
And it is a
Ghost
race.
ship.
It's
a ghost ship.
It is a race that suits specialists, and I just think Majestic, he's on the near side, very highly drawn in 36. I'm sure he's going to run his race. So 2 each way darts for me.
There you go. There's the panel's thoughts on the Bet365 Cambridgeshire. Very brief look now at the 2 Group 1 2-year-old race. You've got the Juddmonte Middle Park, the time form ratings graphic on the screen as we speak. Whistle Jacket 124p, tops Ides of March 121p, stablemates for Ballydoyle. This is heavy ground. This isn't a Group 1 as we usually know it. Ben, your middle part thoughts?
Yeah, my immediate thought is Whistle Jacket is going to be really tough to beat. Obviously, he's odds-on favourite or around even money, and you can absolutely see why when you look at his profile. He's been out almost every week, hasn't he? For Aidan O'Brien, had 6 starts as a 2-year-old, last 2 in Group 1 company, beaten by Babouche in the Phoenix Stakes at the Curragh, and then a good run last time, beating Rashabar and Daylight, who goes in the Cheveley Park at Deauville. I think he is just going to go out there and try and make all. He's proven on the conditions. Well, maybe not this soft, but he's got very good form on soft ground, and I think he is the standout one, and he's going to be tough to beat. If there's an each-way selection against him, I thought Jouncey might outrun his odds on ground that should suit. His dam was a listed winner on soft, so he could be the one for each-way players, but I'm probably just going to leave this and watch Whistle Jacket get another Group 1 for Aidan O'Brien.
Matt, middle part?
Yeah, Whistle Jacket as well. I actually think his form is going to be enhanced in the Cheveley Park prior to that. So
What's going to enhance it?
Yeah, I'm with the filly, Daylight, the French filly. Apologies. Yeah, she was the filly, a real standout filly that ran in the morning last time and ran really well. She was drawn 9 of 9. Finished third, didn't get much of a run, was flying home at the finish. I think Connections have a really high opinion of her. Prior to that, bolted up in a Group 3 on testing ground as well. So she's proven on the conditions. I think she might be a bit of value actually against Lake Victoria, and obviously Babouche as well. So yeah, Daylight to frank the form and Whistle Jacket to tap it in the middle park.
So a quick look at those Cheveley Park time form ratings. Babouche does top the shot, 125p. Lake Victoria, £3 behind, 122p. Both unbeaten in 3 starts. Matt's made a value play in the race. Scoop, are you for or against the market leaders?
I'm completely with Matt's analysis on the Cheveley Park. I think Babouche is a real top prospect for J Lions. Obviously, her form was boosted by Whistle Jacket in France, and there's a big question mark with her over the ground there. Obviously, she's been doing her winning on good and good to firm, and she comes in here on heavy ground, and I'm not entirely sure it's going to suit. Lake Victoria is a 7 furlong horse who might just get caught out at the trip for me. And I was with Matt on the French horse Daylight for exactly the same reasons.
Well, big day for J-Lines, isn't it? I think his strike rate in Britain's 4 or 5% overall, which is it needs tidying up a little bit. But obviously, this is a talented filly.
He's not from 23 since Mustajeer won the Ebor in 2019, so
he's due.
He's due, and plenty of them have been really well fancied.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter a jot to Babouche, but I do think the ground's a big question.
Ground might write it, definitely. Best bet then elsewhere Saturday. Matt.
Haydock. I'm going to Haydock. I'm going to go with Tom Clover's horse, Skipper. I was quite impressed with that horse. Sort of Calix. I mean, the handicap debut here off 92, which on the face of it looks a bit of a steep mark, but I was dead impressed with him. In the end at Chelmsford, like he sort of took a little bit of winding up, but at the end he was really impressive and got the job done really well. Some of his earlier form in maidens and novice races at Newmarket, he was 4th to that Ombudsman. That looks really good, and while untried on soft, I'm fascinated by Calix, to be fair. As I say, winners popping in all over the place at the moment. But Calix runners on heavy ground are 5 from 10. 50% strike rate so far for the sire with his runners on heavy ground. So I'm not put off by the conditions at all.
Lovely, you wouldn't be with those stats. Scoop, your Saturday sizzler?
My Saturday sizzler, Royal Playwright in the Royal Lodge, Dave.
Did you talk to O'Sheen yesterday?
150 Newmarket. Well, O'Sheen is a very big fan of this horse, but I think you can see why. I think when you look at Arabian Queen and the progeny that she's been producing, they've just been getting better and better. And Royal Playwright could easily be the best of the lot. He's been highly tried. Obviously, ran in the Group 3, just his second start last time in the Solario Stakes, and just got going a bit too late perhaps that day. I do think he's going to improve hugely for stepping up to a mile, and Matt's already mentioned the words knee action in this video preview once, and I think punters will be pouring over video form looking for.
He's going to be a 3-year-old, isn't he? Win, lose or draw. This horse,
like, stick with this
horse is what I think collectively we'll all say. Stick with this horse because he might not. Well, he said something about his back end, didn't he, O'Sheen? Is he growing up or something? Yeah. He's developing all the time.
Sandown. But
3-year-old.
I do think, nice 3-year-old, but a mile on soft ground at 2 could be just what he wants at this stage. And I'm happy to take on the market leaders here, Luther and Wimbledon Hawkeye, and I think Royal Playwright offers a bit of value against them.
There you go. There's Matt and Ben's thoughts on this weekend's action. We'll be back next week to look ahead in international flavour. It's pretty like the triumph. You must be dusting off your great Arcs article, are you, Scoop?
I think it's time to, I mean, what won it last year, Dave? Ace Impact?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
He might have to go
He'll go in the 100. Was it 30? I thought it was 100, yeah. Overly ambitious there. But we'll be previewing the Arc. Great racing as well at Newmarket. The Sun Chariot, Spiral Nashwa potentially clashing in there. And other opportunities at Redcar and Ascot too. So we'll be back to look ahead to all that action next week. But before then, best of luck with your own weekend wagers.